And I see a lot of cases where our company goes in and we talk with people and we say, okay, what are we trying to accomplish? What does our system look like? So we start the process of discovery and we start asking. We have, a whole litany of questions to say, okay, do you have this kind of system? Do you have that kind of system? What kind of functionality are you using? It's not uncommon that ERP vendors will buy up third-party systems and then sell them as out-of-the-box modules, when in truth, they're just another integration, right? They're another integrated app. They are a separate install. They may need to be installed in one or more different manners. They communicate. They need to be configured separately. It's part of your hybrid cloud. It's just not advertised as such. So we have to go through this system to say, what are all your components of your applications? What kind of functionality do you have? Do you have an e-commerce system? Is it a best-in-class ERP commerce system? Is it not? Is it something that's lower tier? Well, I need to have you talk to Karthik. You go through all these things to understand what are all the things that could potentially break when you migrate that application. And these could be all kinds of technical things that become very challenging. Now, one story we had, of course, this is a kind of a COVID-esque story. We were in the middle of a migration for a customer, and one of their core technical resources got COVID, got deathly sick, was out of the office for 6 months. So we're trying to implement their hybrid cloud architecture, and the key person who knew where all the bodies were buried was gone. And that was kind of our big challenge there, is how to figure out what that ecosystem looks like. So your question about what's your most challenging implementation that you're going to ask, I've already got an answer for you. It's when someone gets sick and you have, what do we call, tribal knowledge, right? When someone has all that tribal knowledge buried in their head and it's not documented, there's no architecture diagrams, how do you figure out what to do there? And that's one of the key challenges, because for us propeller heads, there's all sorts of places where you can stick this stuff. So you take an application and it could be stuck in any of many places, right? You could have stored procedures, SQL schedules. You can really mess up a database and plug it up with a lot of junk if you want to. And so we get customers who are like, hey, this is our history. And quite often the IT directors weren't the guys who did it, right? I inherited this environment. I got to figure out how to keep it running. How can we help? And we end up doing, kind of a thorough scrub of their existing world to understand, what is stood up right now on IIS? Are they hosting Apache? Do they have Windows services working or Windows scheduled tasks? There's a whole bunch of places where integrations can hide. What does your firewall look like? How many holes in your firewall, right? Generally, you try to minimize the holes in the firewall. But the key then, if you're looking at doing a cloud migration, and this is something you can do before you bring in a company like myself, is go through your system and try to understand it as best from the inside out before you bring in others. Now that might be one of those kind of key criteria points for you to try and avoid unfortunate discoveries down the road.